Is it that time already? Time for Tag Back, the show where every week we take a look at another blaster from the past to see what it could offer us today in the present. And this week, it's time to lock and load. Walcom loves pistols, so shouldn't I love this thing unconditionally? Well, not exactly. It is a vintage blaster, it does have some good mod potential, and heck, this thing is 2 decades old, and yet perfect air seal without ever opening up this blaster. The problem being is that it's touted as some kind of mythical, all-powerful being. It is nothing but. For example, for size comparisons, this is a Snapfire, and you will notice the Snapfire is relatively smaller than this, and yet this thing isn't that big. In fact, a Nightfinder is going to outrange it in pretty much every respect. And the worst part is, most of the times I see people mod this, in fact, all of the times I've seen people mod this, they've removed the green slide, and I'm guessing that's because, if you notice this mechanism back here, when I prime it, the plunger rod has got a hook on the end of it, and the slide has a spring-loaded part up there, so when I pull the trigger, yeah, you can see the spring-loaded thing right there. I'm thinking, just a thought, that maybe when this thing goes up to a higher spring, it cannot handle that pullback mechanism, and thus everybody just turns it into a Nightfinder anyway, so what the hell is the point? That being said, this does look incredibly cool. It's got a massively comfortable handle, and if you take off this big green slide right here, it looks pretty darn spiffy, so it's definitely unique to you. I'm still not going to say you should bother with it, and that's the main problem. This thing is not any kind of unicorn or special being or anything like that. It is in fact just a glorified pre-elite side strike, pretty much. Which was massively disappointing when I brought this thing home. I'd love to show you it firing, of course, but yeah. It's meant for the old school megas, which means it's kind of like throwing a hot dog down a hallway with this thing. I love me some pistols, and I don't necessarily dislike the lock and load, but I haven't bothered to ever mod this one, because not only are they kind of rare and expensive for whatever reason, but I was super hyped when I got home with it and started reading up and realized it was absolute junk. I mean, there's no point in modding it, is what I'm trying to say. There is a missing dart holder right here, which would be useless anyway, and of course this flip-up sight, which is also missing, which is useless anyway, so none of that really matters. And honestly, there's no point to this blaster, unfortunately. Do not kill yourselves looking for one. It is not some kind of special beast. It is just basically a worse Nightfinder, and that's disappointing. Shame on you, Lock and Load. Shame on you. I mean, when I picked this up, I was super excited to go home and mod it. And then when I found out there really wasn't a whole lot better you could do with this thing with the Elite line around, and you'd probably get more modifying like a Cyclone Shock or a Magnus to accept Elite darts, my excitement quickly waned. It still costs a pretty penny, because like I said, these things are kind of rare for whatever reason, but it's definitely not worth it in my opinion. But hey, let me know what you think about the Nerf Lock and Load down in the comment boxes below. And if you like the Lock and Load, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you dislike the Lock and Load and hate pistols for some reason, go ahead and hit that dislike button. Here's 2 more videos you can watch if you are bored and want to see more of Tag Back. And of course, if you want to see next week's Tag Back, hit the subscribe button, because that's going to be the easiest way to see where it's going to be next Monday. I'm Walcom S7, and I hope to see you in an entirely different video.